I challenge you to Makara!
Your petty magics are no challenge!
Yeah, so for those of you who are not aware, we have a listener challenge each week. Ideally, it's different every week, and sometimes we've got things that are more difficult than others. A lot of times it's, build the biggest weapon, build the biggest beast, do the craziest combo, or whatever it is. So last week we did something a little bit different. We were looking at some of these previews of the new cards, and so in particular here, we were looking at the Warlock quest line, the Demon Seed, that says, part 1 is take 6 damage on your turn, part 2 take 7 damage on your turn, part 3 is take 8 damage on your turn, and then the reward is the Blightborn Tamsin, who is a 5-mana 7/7 with a battle cry. It says for the rest of the game, damage you take on your turn damages your opponent instead. And so the gears started turning, like, oh, how can we break the game with this card? And people were asking questions on Twitter to the devs, like, oh, hey, does fatigue damage count? Yes. Hey, what about this? What about this? And so the idea for this past week's challenge was, hey, help us find a combo that we can use to break the game utilizing this quest reward. And we had a handful that were submitted. Let me pull them up real quick. I feel like a derelict podcast host over here because I don't think we picked a winner. Yeah, I'll edit this part out later. Whoopsie.
Hey, I'll fix it in post.
All right, here's a submission from Mikkel. It says, unlicensed apothecary, death speaker, making it immune, play Mekaru and Grim Patron, then Defile, which will then summon a bunch of 3/3s every time they take damage, and everyone summoned will result in dealing 5 damage to your opponent, and if your opponent survives, you can cast another Defile. Well, that's pretty good. That's really pretty good.
I really like that one.
I have one here from Timbo that says Tamsin, Cabal Crystal Runner into Soul Priest, and then Reno for the win. Oh, he meant Cabal Courier. I'm sorry, someone corrected. Cabal Crystal Runner, that's a 5/5 secret mage card. He meant Cabal Courier, okay.
Courier, yeah.
Okay, here's one more from Mikkel. Another one could be 2 Soulbound Acolytes. They're the 1/4s that deal as much damage to you as they take. 1 to 2 Moarg Artificers, doubling all damage from spells dealt to minions, and a Fellfire Potion, deal 5 damage to all characters, which will result in 30 or 50 damage to the opponent. Oh, jeez, okay. That's pretty solid. Dr. Bomb submitted Hemet, then Octosari into Plague of Flames. These are pretty
simple but elegant. I love it.
These are pretty good. And then one from Kenray. I was thinking of putting the quest in a Mechathune type of build, so you turbo draw your deck, take damage, and cards like Spirit Bomb, Shadow Blast, Crystallizer are great. And then Tamsin is there for extra reach after the quest, extra removals, and accelerates the quest. Also included Glinda and Crystallizer as a 10 mana deal 20 after the quest, with both of them being good or decent cards on their own, which makes a lot of sense as well.
You also run Altar of Fire in that deck, Kinray.
But you don't draw the cards, so don't think.
True, but it would get you closer to fatigue. But I see what you mean. It's not the most effective tactics to get there.
All right, what do
I
y'all
want to go to fatigue, but just use Hammond.
True.
What do you all think? I think we might have to give it to Mikkel on this one. There's 2 separate ridiculously creative suggestions here.
Is his the first one with the Mekaru Grim Patron one?
This one's the Moa, the first.
He's got 2, right? No, yeah, he's got 2. So the first one is the Apothecary, Death Speaker, Mekaru, Grim Patron, Defile.
Yeah. That's the one that I like, personally.
That was my favorite one.
And then the other one was the Moarg with the Fellfire Potion, which is also hilarious. So I think we have to give it to Mikkel this time around.
I think so too. Because two very creative submissions, and either of them are great. I do like the Mecharoo one a little better because come on, Mecharoo.
I almost read it wrong. I was like, do you mean Mechathune? Like, wait a minute.
Like Mecha what? Is that a card?
Mecha what? All right. Well,
anytime Unlicensed Apothecary comes out, it's always a good time.
Oh man, that's good stuff there. Good stuff there. Okay. All right. Well, then we have a separate challenge for this week, and I have been telling these lovely gentlemen for the past week that I wanted to do something Stormwind themed. So Sheep, if you wouldn't mind, are you comfortable talking about this week's challenge?
Yeah, absolutely. So this week's challenge is to create as many Stormwind Champions as you can on the battlefield as possible. So that includes both your and your opponent's board, if you're somehow able to get them Stormwind Champions. And we have a tiebreaker because if, for example, multiple people submit, let's say 7 Stormwind Champions, this tiebreaker is the most stats. So if you're able to buff them up, besides them buffing just each other, stuff like that, then that is one way to tiebreak. And if you have the exact same stats as someone else, then it's whoever submitted it first.
Nice. Okay.
But we're hoping that it's the most amount of them. Like really, the hint there is yes, it's easy to get 7, relatively speaking, easy to get 7. Getting your opponent to have Stormwind Champions as well is where you might be able to enhance that beyond the normal 7.
Right. Well, and I think I love having the backup of the stats, and so hey, if you get 7 1/1s, that's a lot different than 7 7/7s. There's ways. There are a lot of interesting ways. So I don't really want to spoil anything. I think we were talking about it a little bit before the show, and like we all came up with a few different ideas, and so the interesting piece is they're all going to buff each other as well, and so that'll be fun. And this is sort of a way that people can one up each other too. So I expect that this is something where people will. Well, ideally, what I'd like to see is, hey, someone will post, hey, I've got 3. Oh, I've got 4. Oh, I've got 7. Like, oh, look, I've got 7 and my opponent has 2 also. And then we can start seeing how big they get. So that'll be a lot of fun. So yeah, someone has a question about the rules. Like, okay, how do you share the results? So that's a good segue for us to explain how this works. The weekly challenge is good for this week. We will announce the winner on next week's show. First off, what do you win? You win 2 packs on us, and you get bragging rights, of course. Now, the way that you submit your results, you've got to join our Discord server. Oh, look at what a good Nightbot. Oh, Sheep, thank you. You join our Discord server. There is a channel in the Discord that's called Weekly Challenges, and you would share your results there. And so that gives us a place to go to review these. You got to share your screenshots with us there so that we can see them. And it also not only is good for us, but then it lets everyone else in the Discord see what you're up to and try to beat it. And so then the rules about how you can go about doing this. We are slightly nicer than the Hearthstone devs. This does not have to be done on ladder. It can be done on the ladder, standard or wild, or in casual mode. It cannot be done against a friend. It cannot be done against the innkeeper. It's just too easy. So we won't make you tank your rank, but you can't. We can't make it too easy for you either.
You could try it in Classic, but I wouldn't recommend it.
If you do it in Classic, you get like extra super bonus points.
This is one that it's actually possible in Classic.
I suppose, like Faceless Manipulator exists in Classic, right? I mean,
uh-huh.
Wow. I guess if you and your opponent both did it, you could have 4. Is there more? I don't know.
So you could play 1. You could play 2. Your opponent could play 2, and then you could play 2 faceless. So you could each have
8.
4. So you could have 8 total in Classic.
Yeah, but you can't play against a friend. If you manage to do that,
No.
like you win the whole show. I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll just give it to you. Yeah. So. So anyways, I'm joking. So yes, that is the challenge for this week. Stormwind themed challenge. So that's exciting.
Pull the might of Stormwind.
More to be wild.